Well, Jared and Nicole, it's already against state law in Arizona to bet on elections, but that hasn't stopped popular prediction markets from letting people put down, in some cases, a lot of money on key races in Arizona. And Maricopa County leaders say they're taking a step to put more safeguards in place. Scroll through a popular prediction market, and there's no shortage of questions to put your money down on.
This is obviously something that a lot of people are paying attention to. Frankly, it's becoming more popular.
From sports to pop culture, even elections.
Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion passes unanimously.
Today, the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors unanimously approved a policy banning county employees from using non-public information for prediction markets. Supervisor Thomas Galvin led the effort.
We don't want any of our election workers, staffers, volunteers being accused of placing any bets with election outcomes hanging in the balance.
Right now on Kalshi, one of the most popular online prediction markets, there are 9 event contracts on next week's Arizona primaries, with more than $580,000 on the line.
So that's a serious concern.
That's Tom Collins, the executive director of the Arizona Clean Elections Commission. Earlier this year, Arizona Attorney General Chris Mace filed criminal charges against Kalshi, including illegal betting on elections.
Well, the idea was that you don't want people's vote to be influenced by money or a financial outcome.
A federal judge halted that case as appeals courts fight over who controls prediction markets.
I want people to see around the country that the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors cares about issues like this. Right now it's about elections, but it could be other things. It could be about court cases. It could be about different things happening in other departments that we have at Maricopa County.
And the Maricopa County Recorder's Office says they will have this policy applied to its employees as well. And just last week, Governor Katie Hobbs enacted a similar ban that applies to state executive branch employees. For now, reporting in the newsroom, Prelutsky for Arizona's Family.